rights are being offended, then we need to vote in favor of this resolution. And I think once you realize, you will realize that is the case.
Well,
Now,
I don't know that you need to read it verbatim. If you go over the headings,
it's about 3 minutes.
and then we've got the resolution that's passed by Allegan. We've got this. Each commissioner can look at this on their own time.
Okay.
And then if there's a wish to make a motion in the weeks ahead, we can do that. But I don't think we need to read it verbatim here.
Okay, well, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I will read some of his quotes.
Okay.
It's okay with you. Obama quotes, he will not authorize indefinite detention. And this is his quote from Obama. Moreover, I want to clarify that my administration will not authorize indefinite military detention without trial for American citizens. Indeed, I believe that doing so would break with our most important traditions and values of the nation. My administration will interpret Section 1021 in a manner that ensures that any detention it authorized complies with the Constitution, the laws of war, and all other applicable law. Now you got to ask yourself, which law will Obama, as Commander-in-Chief, because now he's Commander-in-Chief, not just Chief Executive of the country, will he adhere to? Will he adhere to constitutional law, or will he adhere to the law of war? Now that's another big question, because what you do, the United States got put into a battle zone as of January 1, 2012. So legally, and you can Google everything I'm saying to you right now, legally, we are under the law of war in our country, in our own homeland, okay? So with us being turned into a battle zone, military men can roam our streets now, and they, upon their own discernment, they can decide whether somebody's a terrorist or not, okay? Upon their own discernment. Under Section 1021, under 1022, it states Al-Qaeda, Taliban, associated forces, or any belligerent act. Now, there's no definition of the belligerent act, so there is definitely a problem. Obama goes on to quote, he admits that the NDAA is being ill-conceived. Section 1022 seeks to require military custody of a narrow category of non-citizen detainees who are captured in the course of hostilities authorized by the use of military force. This section is ill-conceived and will do nothing to improve the security of the United States. Now, that's our president admitting that. It's ill-conceived. Section 1022 claims for detention for belligerent acts and does not include the type or who commits those acts. Now he further quotes the potential to create uncertainty and a matter of interpretation. And that's a big problem because there's several ways to interpret Section 1021 and 1022. They're not all defined. While Section 1022 is unnecessary and has the potential to create uncertainty, I have signed the bill because I believe that this section can be interpreted and applied in a manner that avoids undue harm to our current operations. Now, the uncertainty comes from the interpretation and the manner thereof. Do you really want to turn that type of interpretation over to President Obama or President Romney if he gets elected, or any other president for that matter? Because that's giving way too much power to the executive branch. Obama goes further to quote and admits the NDAA gives him broad authority. That right there should say the statement for himself. I have signed this bill on the understanding that Section 1021 provides the executive branch with broad authority to determine how best to implement it, and with the full and unencumbered ability to waive any military custody requirement, including the option of waiving appropriate categories of cases when doing so is in the national security interests of the United States. Now you got to think about it. According to Obama's own words, Section 1022 gives him broad authority of implementation. Ask yourself, do you really want Obama with that kind of authority? Because that's what it gives to him. He gives him that kind of authority, or it will give that same authority to President Romney if he gives that. Now we're on both sides of the fence here. It doesn't matter which one you're on. We are the people of the United States of America, and we are here to defend our Constitution. Obama admits to the across-the-board requirement for military detention. Now, that's across the board. I will not tolerate that result, and under no circumstances will my administration accept or adhere to a rigid across-the-board requirement for military detention. I will therefore interpret and implement Section 1022 in the manner that best preserves the same flexibility approach that has served us so well for the past 2 years. And that protects the ability of law enforcement professionals to obtain the evidence and cooperation needed to protect the nation. In this comment, Obama, by his own words, admits to that there are across-the-board requirements for military detention. Now, again, it's not just President Obama, it's not just President Romney, they both belong to the same authority, of which we should all be aware of both sides of the fence. The problem comes in is you have a military man walking down the street. Now, he's not like, what law is he going to consider? Is he going to consider the law of war, or is he going to consider constitutional law? Well, this is a constitutional republic. Republic means we're representative republic of the people. Constitutional means we follow the law of the constitutional law. That's the difference. Constitutional republic isn't the same word. They're two separate entities that join together as one. And that's what we are here today. And if you create unconstitutional laws, you're putting your constituents in danger. That's why I asked what the Liberty Preservation Resolution does, LPR, is it does three things, actually four. Okay, Congress has been using the AUMF as a pretext, so to speak. The AUMF, for those of you that don't understand what that is, that's the authorization of use of military force from 9/11. Okay, and what the AUMF did was it created there was a bill written and passed to be able to arrest any Taliban or Al-Qaeda forces that are connected directly to the 9/11 in New York. What this bill does under section 1021 and 1022, it includes everybody from 9/11 to present and in the future. So it's very important that it passes resolution 7. Now, the other three items on the resolution ask the Sheriff's Department not to assist in any arrest or investigation of any Berrien County citizen. That's all it does. It's an insurance policy under section 1021 and 1022. And then it supports Tom McMillan's bill, HB 5768. Now, what HB 5768 is, now this has really happened, okay? It was in committee hearing last week with an overflow. I'll repeat myself, and they were watching it in separate rooms on TV. That's how important this is. People are showing up. I see people are listening. We've got their ears to the wall here, okay? And what it does, it keeps any National Guards or Michigan employees or officials to assist in the investigation or detention of any Michigan citizen under section 1021 and 1022 NDAA. That's all it does. It's just an insurance policy. Okay? And that's for the son of the AUMF as soon as the akin rules. That's all it does.
Thank you, Bill. We have the resolution passed by Allegan. We have the other handout. Commissioners will read those this week. If there's interest in us passing that resolution, thank you for coming down, Bill. We'll go ahead to other public comment this morning.
This is just a very brief quote, but I think a lot of you probably heard it before, but I'd like to reintroduce it because to me.
Please give us your name.
Oh, I'm
for the
sorry,
record
sorry.
again. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. Janet Blazen, Sage Allegan County.
Thank you.
There's a gentleman named Martin Niemauer. He was a Lutheran pastor, and he was in support of the Nazis during the war. And then he was in prison from 1937 to 1945 for opposing Hitler when he saw what he was up to. His most famous statement: "They came for the communists. I was not a communist, so I didn't speak up. Then they came for the Jews. I was not a Jew, so I did not speak up. They came for the trade unionists. I was not a trade unionist, so I did not speak up. They came for the Catholics. I was a Protestant, so I didn't speak up. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak." And that's what this, the danger of the NDAA is, I think, is that they'll start at the bottom of the citizenry. They'll take people first that no one cares about. Then they're on to the next group, and the next group, pretty soon they're after you. And I think that's really a powerful statement. So, thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to the board this morning?
Good morning. My name is Sherry Williams. I'm extremely concerned about this resolution. As a member of the Tea Party, as many of you know, we've been called terrorists, we've been called radicals, we've been called a lot of things. And this does not define what a terrorist is. And so because I may speak up against some of the things that are going on against our Constitution, I could be detained. Any one of us could be detained. The language is very vague, so I beg you to consider the ramifications of this. Thank you.
Sure.
I just wanted to get up here and address the board. I am Sheriff Paul Baker. Been a sheriff for 12 years. We've worked very, very hard with you for public safety, okay? And this is a very tough budgeting year, and Bill's had hard decisions to make and recommendations to make to you. And I've looked at them, disagreed with some, agreed with others, but we need to move forward, and I've looked at some of his proposals and some of the things that we can do to cut even further than we've already had, which we have lost 15 deputies at the sheriff's office since I became the sheriff, and I made those cuts with no problems because there's less revenue coming in. So we tightened up the ship, and each department has done that. So I'll look at every avenue that we have over there to make sure that that happens. But you got some directions to where some cuts could come out of my budget, out of the drug unit, out of crime prevention, and I know we need to save a little bit of money. Okay, I have 9 people assigned to the drug unit. Okay, 2 of those are dogs. Those 2 dog units, most of the year, are filling in vacancies that I have open because somebody has gotten hurt or somebody's, they're on family leave. I have 2 deputies right now that have been off for the last 4 months, one with an injury on the job, and the other one, their son who's in the military, has cancer, so she's off taking care of him, for family leave. Military families can get up, I think it's 26 weeks, if I'm right, or something like that. It's quite a while. So those dogs fill those vacancies, so I don't have to pay overtime. So I'm already using the public safety fund to control my budget. Okay, and I work very hard to make sure that the budget stays within its means. Okay, as we move forward, we take a look at possibly cuts out of the drug unit. I just can't accept any more than that. I mean, we have, once you get down, I have 7 people left to do drug investigations, and those are very dangerous. I want you to understand how much time it takes to do one, and the people we're dealing with are mostly convicted felons already that are out there that we have to set up surveillance on and do. So I've looked over this already, and I know we do that. I asked for 1 more position in the drug unit because I have 1 assigned to the SWAT unit they do the top end stuff, we do the street level stuff. It's important. We're going after the big players to hold them responsible for selling to all the other people. So we've done a great job. And then I have someone assigned to the violent crimes task force. This additional position I'm asking for to go into SWAT because we have somebody in the violent crimes task force, and we do violent crimes basically in the Twin City area, but they can go anywhere. We work with the FBI. I can see some savings. I don't want to cut anymore. I've already told you all that. But as you look, you got some tough decisions to make, and my prayers go out to you with that. But I have 2 openings right now, and if you have to make cuts, here's what I'll do, because the staffing levels and the decisions are up to me on where my people are going to go. You tell me how much money I can get. I can leave those 2 vacancies and move those 2 dogs permanently on the road, which would save about $180,000. And then there's no cuts into the drug mills. I'm going to plead with you that we have to keep up this drug enforcement. We've improved the quality of life in Berrien County, and we cannot go down the numbers that are there. But those dogs I use other places, so I'm willing, as you take a look at this, if there has to be cuts, you can hear from me. That's what my game plan is if we have to cut in positions. Thank you.
I'm Chuck Collins. I was a former Berrien County Road Commissioner up until 3 weeks ago. I'm here today, last Thursday, before you started addressing